Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to Showshaw. Yes, the weekend show where the whole week gets filtered, fried and served finally hot. So good evening Pakistan, and yes, buckle up on tonight's Showshaw because we've got it all super covered, from the shocking scandals that may make you spit in your chai, plus the health scare that would surely make you check your medicine cabinet twice. Besides that, the cricket fever is hotter than ever, and then the Lahore rooftop in June. And not only that, a cultural revival that will have you reaching your kite string. So yes, we'll travel from the hospitals to the rooftops, from Colombo Stadium, packed with sardine fans, and not only that, to Karachi. Yes, the neon fit paddle parties, and even peek into billionaires buying mosques. Yes, that's also something that truly happened. So it's fast, it's fierce, and it's full of twists. And you know, sometimes it happens. So it's just the plan, and same going with the flow that would make you think it's unbelievable. So grab your popcorn and put your phones on silent and get ready, because Showshaw will bring you the world news onto your screens for the next few minutes, full of unfiltered, jaw-dropping news and stories. And yes, from jaw-dropping, we'll start off a fake medicine factory that was busted. Yes, that is the health scam, and we will be worrying about the few viral fevers initially, but the pharmacy bills. Imagine buying those medicines that truly look real, but they are completely fake. Yes, this week authorities have uncovered a counterfeit medicine factory operating very quietly behind closed doors, and what they found was seriously alarming. The raid basically happened after the law enforcement received a very credible intelligence that actually mentioned the fake medicines were being manufactured at this facility. And yes, 3 men have been arrested so far. Noman, Ahmad Faruqi and Fazan, they were arrested on the spot. The factory owners, Siddiq and his son Zaid Siddiq, managed to escape before the police arrived there. And during the raid, officer also seized multiple cartons of counterfeit medicines, products that could have ended up in the pharmacies and even the clinics and the hospitals. So if this wasn't, a crazy thing to listen, I'm sure there would be more news that I would want to talk about. When the medicines become a scam, the trust become actually the real casualty. So let's hope the network is shut down, and not to forget that, this happened, but we're going to jump into the Basant. Yes, because Basant is also in the skies, and Lahore skies were definitely colorful again. The kites flew and the music played and the rooftops became alive for nearly 2 decades. But Basant is officially returned, as discussed earlier, in the provincial government led by Maryam Nawaz of obviously Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Group. For many Lahoris, it was a very emotional, a very lost tradition, but it is finally back. And as the celebration rose, so did the question. Let's rewind. Basant. Yes, we talk about Lahore's iconic spring kite festivities that had been obviously affected, but initially they were banned back in 2000. But there was, a lot of tragic incidents that actually did happen with the metal coated strings. But wo jo hamari dhol hoti hai, uske hawale se baat karenge. But successfully, it has come to this point finally that there has this festivity that has actually jumped in finally, because I think Pakistan did need that cultural restoration. And yes, there was a lot of argument, but yet again, I think there was a big and a huge influx in terms of not only the khushiyan, but also the financial side, and it is definitely going to boost a lot of tourism. So festivals like these actually are brought to you in a very difficult time, but it's absolutely fine. I think culture should also never be politicized, and I think we should always see the better picture, because the ultimate goal for us is to be happy and share those festivities, so that in the long run we have a stronger vision of Pakistan around the world, so people can actually come into Pakistan in terms of that tourism. So anyways, in Pakistan, even festivals come with a lot of debate, but whether it was political or cultural, one thing was very clear, that the Lahore's sky were flying again. And yes, not only that, Punjab has actually taken a very serious notice in terms of pollution. Yes, if you think you were planning on burning garbage and you think it is normal, sorry, not anymore. Punjab has just made it super expensive. They have discussed, because of the fact that pollution is going on and on, so they wanted to create such a law that would actually make you think twice when you're burning garbage. So Punjab Assembly has basically passed the Suthra Punjab, the authority bill of 2025, introducing some of very strictest environmental penalties for the province, and obviously their entire goal is to bring it on all across Pakistan. So let's break it down. Yes, burning solid wastes, whether you have something of the household, the factory or commercial business, or anything on your property or outside, could now actually face fine up to 500,000, and not only that, 2 years in jail. So yes, 500,000 rupees, burning tires as fuel, No way. Everything is completely banned. So please make sure that you are not spreading those toxic fumes by burning garbage. And it actually is a contributor to smog. So the whole objective is to ensure that in the future Pakistan could have a very cleaner, better side of it. So like I mentioned, 500,000 fine, up to 1 year imprisonment or even 2 years in the province. But yes, the smog situation is creating a lot of respiratory illnesses, and we are trying our level best in terms of making it a better and a cleaner environment. So I think sometimes laws have to be enforced this way so that people can actually suffer, so that they understand that we need to implement laws that could actually be stricter, because we want a Suthra Punjab. Not only that, we want a Suthra Pakistan. So that is the whole prospect of it. And yes, not only that, there's another news in terms of losses. Yes, Pakistan loses 4,000 doctors in 1 year in the healthcare. And yes, the healthcare is surely on the edge. And the story is, it really hits us because our health system is in that direction. But Pakistan just recorded its highest ever annual outflow of doctors in 2025. Yes, 3,800 to 4,000 doctors left the country from last year alone, and it's the biggest number ever. So put it into perspective. Previously, only a few hundred doctors would leave each year, but now it's thousands. And now the trend isn't temporary, but because it's slowly and gradually going. So the ticker part for Pakistan is Pakistan produces around 22,000 new medical graduates every year, and in nearly 370,000 are the registered doctors. But not all are actually practicing or actively practicing, but because of unemployment, and some are overseas. Some aren't in that clinical work situation, but the World Health Organization definitely recommends at least one doctor per 1,000 people. Pakistan's population is around 250 million, so we technically meet the benchmark on paper. But in reality, if we look into public hospitals, the rural areas, and the specialized services, we still are at a very strained perspective. So thousands of doctors leaving and not coming back is not nice for Pakistan in terms of that, because Pakistan is trying to train the world's finest doctors, but they eventually are planning on going there. But let's hope for the best in terms of our doctors getting the finest work or being prepared from Pakistan should stick around to Pakistan. I think there needs to be a system in which they don't really want to leave the country. Not to forget, we have to switch into the next news. Yes, from the exclusion to a mosque, who billionaire actually created this whole perspective. It's a very interesting story. So there was this billionaire, and it kind of sparks a very different situation. Meet Mr. Asif Aziz, also known as Mr. West End, a London-based property mogul. Yes, here's the story that Aziz actually visited the hotel in the central London and was denied permission to pray. Yes, he was told not to pray, and most of the people would be saying that this is not nice. But Aziz, he actually decided to buy the hotel. Yes, he basically bought the building Trocadero in London's West End. So his plan is now to transform it into a 3-story mosque with not only the capacity of 380 plus worshippers, but also providing a permanent place for prayer and community gatherings in the heart of London. The project received approval from the Westminster Council through the initial, obviously, larger design faced a local opposition, but still the mosque now stands as a bold statement of faith, inclusion, and obviously civic participation. In public's reaction, well, surely there's always a mixed reaction in that, but Aziz basically the move has actually brought people widely discussing that he turned an example of personal discrimination that actually took place into a very positive and urban and cultural statement. So I think this goes, when a prayer is denied at the spot, he bought the building and created his legacy. Sometimes these stories become so amazing that you were like, wow. So job well done. And not only that, I'm going to talk about another story. Yes, Epstein. That is one of the stories that's everywhere. Yes, the Epstein story comes with pandemics, and there are some documents that we just recently discovered, and I'm going to talk about it. You would surely be in a shock, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Yes, first, the dark side of Jeffrey Epstein. He faced and documented charges of sex trafficking and abuse to minor, and aided an entire network of powerful contracts, ministers, name it, politics, entertainment industry. a lot of survivors actually came forward highlighting the exploitation and the trauma that they had actually faced. But Epstein died, as per what we know, in prison in 2019. But yet again, we still haven't seen the footage, which obviously the FBI has not put out. So a lot of questions, a lot of people have mentioned that it's suicide. Some people are saying, but it's not suicide. So anyways, he's vanished, and everybody thinks that he finally is accountable, or he was accountable for what he did back then. So listen, but anyways, the silence in the face of abuse is definitely the complicated part. So protecting the vulnerable is not optional and obviously a societal duty. So now the surprising twist, the newly released US-based documents actually included a 2015 email linking Epstein, referring to pandemic, and it's the preparedness for pandemics years before the COVID-19 situation. The email was basically a part of the draft of the agenda for a Geneva meeting involving the World Health Organization and the International Committee of the Red Cross, and focused on routine global health planning. Some online commentators obviously jumped to conclusion, connecting documents to Bill Gates, BioNTech, and the COVID-19 vaccine. And the experts are right now in a very cautious situation, trying to realize and understand that this needs to be taken very seriously, and these documents have to fuel it has created a misinformation or not, but finally it will be making more rounds, because of the fact that now Bill Gates would probably be answerable to a lot of things, and maybe people who were back then in the Red Cross or the other associated criminology perspective, so they definitely have to face the whole story. And obviously when we talk about Epstein's criminal history, he has literally been the central story, but the evidence and the analysis that have actually come is spreading conspiracy from some points. But from the abuse to the power to the pandemics to the emails, Epstein's story reminds us that history can surely teach us lessons, but only if we read it carefully. Yes, another horror story in terms of Mumbai. Yes, a challenged woman unfortunately was raped. Yes, it is a very deeply disturbing story that happened in Mumbai, which obviously we were also shocked. So a 50-year-old man was actually arrested, allegedly raping his 20-year-old daughter, who was mentally challenged, deaf and non-verbal. The shocking case comes to light and was admitted into coma in the Iblis hospital in 2025 with abdominal pains. The doctor discovered she was 5 months pregnant and immediately was informed to the authorities. And the investigative DNA and everything that actually came from 16 to 17 men who had the access to her, the results confirmed that her father, the person truly involved in this whole situation. So obviously it is an alarming thing, and it's not nice to hear such stories. But earlier there were 2 other suspects who had been arrested for the identification by the visual aids. But public outrage is definitely widespread, and experts say this is surely a tragedy, and it will highlight the failures and of the safeguarding individuals, and specifically those vulnerable ones. So let's hope for the best, and let's pray that things don't go this heartbreaking, because I think the world is coming to that point. But anyways, I'll switch to the next news. And yes, a total alcohol ban. The liquor sales, yes, yet to continue. And some ideas actually sound so bold until the politics step in. Yes, recently, Anil Kumar proposed a complete ban on alcohol in the Sindh Assembly and calling a cancel to all liquor licenses just to make the province fully dry. But the motion was instantaneously denied and did not fly a bit, because Ziaul Hassan, obviously the provincial interior minister, argued that a blanket ban isn't the practical solution, because he said the economic reason would surely be one of them, and not only that, the social balance and the complexities of enforcing such prohibition. But not only that, after the debate, the Sindh Assembly voted it down, meaning the liquor shops and the bars and the licensed established, the whole situation will continue and the business will continue as usual. But this episode has surely highlighted a lot of news out there, a lot of talking and a lot of debates, what to do and what not to do. So people are trying to argue in terms of their own point of views, because they're trying to create that, bringing culture and all the other things into, and religion and the economy part, all of them together into the politics part. So now the bottle will definitely stay on the shelves, but not to forget, it is what it is. Sometimes some wanted a dry Sindh, but the politics said no, not today. So yeah, that is the question will remain, that was the attempt actually attraction, or maybe planning something bigger? And one of the most interesting news, yes, the T20 World Cup is still underway. There have been definitely surprises that we saw Zimbabwe obviously winning over Australia. Not only that, The travel frenzy situation in Sri Lanka, yes, cricket fever took over Colombo last week, and the fans from all across South Asia, obviously, are flying to Sri Lanka, and India and Pakistan are now facing one another. And we will definitely see how it flows by, because T20 World Cup is right now priceless and it's skyrocketing, and the game in Sri Lanka is and their largest stadium, because they sold out around 35,000 tickets and no more tickets available, and the hotels doubled their prices, with the rooms reaching up to $660 per night. Not only the usual $100 is for $150, the flights have actually sped up in terms of the pricing as well. So flying in from Chennai, tickets were $623, but slowly and gradually they have jumped 50% more. So it is definitely going to be one crazy match, and we surely are looking to how things go by. So, not to forget that, we literally went through a long debate, but obviously ICC and the BCCI, the whole prospect actually died, because Pakistan did not initially want to play, because there were situations that actually arose in terms of Bangladesh, but yet again they had to play, because I think ICC and the whole prospect one side, and Pakistan India's match one side, because I think it's the most expensive match that can ever happen. But anyways, guys, I hope you all had fun with the news. Yes, we'll surely come again in terms of the whole frying part of what truly happened in the coming week. Till then, you take good care of yourself. Leave a comment down below. Inshallah, see you very soon. Take care. Allah Hafiz.